All right, Gigi, good evening, you're welcome. And like I told you, you're going to be having another examination. Let's go. But just remember, you did well last time, I must really say, but there's just one thing I really wanted you to learn the hard way. And you know the lesson. I don't need to go over it again. So let's crack on, and this time let's be more exciting. So I'll say, Captain Caleb, I think your student is ready for you tonight, sir.
Okay, very good evening to you. So, Afolabi, sorry, is it only restricted to ROR only, right? Or others?
So if we extend the scope, we're treating the students, we told them to prepare for orals. Well, I think it's going to be interesting if after this, in our next orals, it will be broad on all subjects. But tonight it will just be a fair game if we do it to oral as what we told them to prepare for.
Okay. All right. So, can we kickstart, right?
Yes, sir. I think your student is ready for you.
Okay. So, the first question I have for you is on restricted visibility. Right? Are you ready? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you.
Okay.
JJ, I think it's
Okay.
hearing you, just the network is going to play before
Okay. So I think also my network here in Escrow is a bit poor. So,
okay.
So what would be your instruction regarding restricted visibility to officer aboard the watch?
Confirm what would be my instruction regarding restricted visibility
to officer of the watch? Yes.
Okay, as an officer of the watch, it will be very viable for me to call the master in a restricted visibility because it's one of my major obligations to do when approaching a restricted visibility, sir.
Okay. So what next? You just call the master first?
Yeah, I'll call the master. Whereas the other obligation for me to engage myself in a restricted visibility, while waiting for the master as an officer of the watch, since I have other ABs or other people around me or other crew around me, I'll post extra lookout. I'll make sure I focus more on the radar, whereby focusing more on the radar. Apart from that, as an OOW or as an officer of the watch, while in a residual visibility, it is viable for me as I'm approaching, as I'm making way, make the appropriate sound signal in the residual visibility. Also, in the residual visibility, I'll give an order to the deck to, if possible, to stop all deck work so that it will give me an enabling environment to listen to the sound signal of other vessels too that are around me in the restricted visibility, and many more like that, sir.
Okay. Captain Afolabi, do you want me to give feedback after every question?
Yes, sir, you can, sir.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So far, you did well. The first action, you say you call the master. Second, you say you post extra lookout. You make a point that you focus on radar. That point is not so clear because we just tell examiner that you focus on radar. Everybody can focus on radar. You can focus on radar to see the cloud. You can focus on radar to look at, the rain coming and everything, especially X-band radar. So you mentioned sound signal, which is good. So there are few points that are missing here. Yes, you mentioned call the master, which is good. Post extra lookout, which is good.
If I can still go for that, sir.
Pardon?
I say if I can still go for that, sir. I still have some other points. But I just believe this is
oral exam. Once you answer, you can't go further.
Okay, no problem, sir. No problem, sir. I just believe because of time.
Yeah. So the focus on radar, instead of you to focus on radar, you need to tell the examiner that you commence radar plotting immediately. It's not focusing. You have to start radar plotting immediately. You know,
That
you
is
have
when
to,
I set target.
yeah. Yes, when you start target, you commence radar plotting. But you say you focus on radar. Focus for what?
Okay, thank you. If you ask me focus for what, then I can now go further, sir. When we're talking about
Well,
radar,
you are
you
digging
know.
more hole for yourself.
Okay, sir, no problem, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay, so sound signal, yes. Another thing, very, very important thing that is missing here, very important thing is you need to call engineers, let them put the engines on standby. If you go back to, there's a part 2, which is conduct of vessel in any condition of visibility. You have to proceed at a safe speed. So when you are in restricted visibility, you have to proceed at a safe speed. And how do you proceed at a safe speed? Your engines must be at standby. They should be readily available at all times. So, if you are on full speed, you can't just start drawing engine from full to stop. You need to give engineers notice. So in this place, you need to call engineers and give engineers appropriate notice. Ensure that your engines are on standby.
Okay, sir.
Another important point here, will you continue on autopilot all the way in restricted visibility?
Oh, negative, sir. Negative, sir. I have to switch immediately to the manual steering. I have
That
to
means you
switch
have
to manual
additional
steering.
helmsman, because the lookout duty
Roger
man,
that, sir.
his main duty is just lookout. He's not to be engaged in any helms, right? So you mentioned
Roger that,
radar, but
sir.
you missed another thing, because still under the lookout, the rule says every vessel shall at all times maintain a proper lookout by sight and hearing, as well as by all available means. All available means you maintain proper lookout not only on radar, you also maintain proper lookout by radio, and all available means available to you.
Yeah, I mentioned that, sir.
Okay. So those are the basic actions you take. There are subsequent actions,
Oh,
that you
also, I will
take.
put on my navigation light.
Exactly.
My navigation light
But
will be
what does
on.
the rule say about navigation lights?
Yeah, concerning navigation light, the navigation light,
From
the
dusk to
rule
dawn,
talks about
or in any condition of visibility, restricted visibility.
no, it's not in any condition of visibility. It is it should be placed in a when you are in a restricted visibility, and also at night. That is from sunset to sunrise.
Yeah, that's as it dusk to dawn,
Yes,
right?
sir.
That's what the rule says. So when you are in restricted visibility and you are not in sunset to dawn. So what does the rule also mention something about it? So
Okay,
when you are in
concerning
restricted
the
visibility, your navigation light should be on.
roger that, sir. Roger that, sir. The navigation light
Okay.
should be on.
Okay. So it's very, very important for you to understand actions to take in restricted visibility. Okay. So we'll move to the next question now.
Roger that.
Okay. You are on the way. You are on the way. You are a power-driven vessel. You sighted a
Still in the
sailing
reserve
vessel,
visibility, sir.
above your beam. Above your beam.
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Okay, sir. I'm
Can you
with you,
hear
sir.
me? Yeah, I say you are on
Yes,
the
I'm with
way.
you, sir.
You sighted a sailing
Okay,
vessel
sir.
above your beam, approximately 2 points. Action.
Okay, confirm I'm a power-driven vessel,
Exactly.
not in the restricted visibility this time
No,
around.
clear visibility, not restricted now.
Okay, okay. The rule according to the rule, it obliged me when approaching a sailing vessel. When approaching a sailing
Steady
vessel, and
bearing. Continue.
okay, and there is a risk of collision. I'm obliged to take action.
Well, I just said sailing vessel
I
2
cannot hear
points
you well.
above the beam. Sailing vessel 2 points above the beam.
2 points above the beam. Starboard or?
After this one, I'm going to take you back to that you are staying restricted visibility. After this question, you know we have not finished. We jump over regarding the light. You have not answered that one. So that one is a separate question on its own.
Okay. Approaching.
So you are power-driven vessel on the way. Let's say you are in Gulf of Guinea. Power-driven vessel.
Okay,
a
sir.
sailing vessel is 2 points above your beam.
Okay, a sailing vessel is 2 points above my beam. And if there is, well, according to the rule, I'm obliged to take action if a risk of collision exists, sir.
How do you know risk of collision exists?
Okay, a risk of collision exists if I take a compass bearing of the approaching vessel and it does not appreciably change. If it does not appreciably change, or such risk too may sometimes exist even when an appreciable bearing change is evident, particularly when approaching.
So now bearing is steady, range decreasing, action.
Bearing is steady, range decreasing.
Range decreasing.
If the range is decreasing and I'm approaching the DC, I will take action by any means to avoid collision, either by slowing down my speed to ascertain where it's going to be with me, or I make a bold alteration to avoid the collision as recommended by the rules, sir.
Okay, so is that your answer?
Yes, sir. I make a bold alteration and avoid collision. Since
Hello, JJ, are you there?
What Rule 13 says.
Okay, Rule 13, overtaking.
There's a first statement in Rule 13. Because you are answering me based on responsibility between vessels.
Okay. If I'm
so Rule 13
okay, I'm
mentioned something.
Overtaking.
Yeah, so what's the first part of Rule 13?
A vessel shall be deemed to be overtaken when coming up with another
not
vessel.
That one, the first part of Rule 13. That's what we give the answer.
Notwithstanding anything contained in the rule of Part B, Section 1 and 2, any vessel overtaking any other shall keep out of the way of the vessel being overtaken.
Okay, so what is 2 points above your beam? What is 1 point? What is 1 point?
Okay, 1 point is 11.25.
2 points.
22.5 degree.
Okay, so it's coming what? What's she doing? Above your beam.
22.5 degree. Yeah, 22.5 degree means overtaking.
Okay, so what should you do in that case? You see where you have already failed the question initially.
Okay, sir. Overtaking situation.
So that's a typical overtaking. So you have to pay attention. 2 points. Overtaking. Well, the way you answer this question, number one is you are a power-driven vessel, she is a sailing vessel. As per responsibility between vessels, you are the stand-on vessel, you are required to keep out of way of a sailing vessel on the way. However, the vessel is coming from a direction of more than 22.5 degrees above your beam. And Rule 13 says, notwithstanding anything contained the rule of Part B, Section 1 and 2, any vessel overtaking another vessel shall keep out of way. So from the angle she's coming from, she's overtaking me, so she shall keep out of way. So what I will do here, I will maintain my course and speed. Right?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So I've given the first part. You maintain course and speed. So what will you do? Range decreasing, steady bearing.
Range decreasing, steady veering. At this point, it's an indication that the sailing vessel is not taking responsibility since the range is decreasing. And despite the fact that I'm a stand-on vessel in this situation, but since she's not taking action, I shall assume the responsibility and take action to avoid collision.
Okay, are you sure? There's a rule called Rule 34. There's a rule called Rule 34.
Yes, sir.
What's Rule 34?
Yeah, Rule 34 is talking about maneuvering and warning signal.
Yes. So 34D, what does it say?
Yeah, 34D. It talks about a vessel in sight of one another when approaching
when you don't understand
each other.
intention, or when you are in doubt.
Okay, when I'm in doubt, that's why I said I will take responsibility and take action. And one of the action I will take is to give him a 5-shot
But
rapid blast.
you didn't mention that one until I brought Rule 34.
Oh, okay, Captain. Okay, to be sincere with you, sir, the way the question is going, I say I will take responsibility. So
Well,
I said, but going down to the
the examiner
responsibility.
asks you which kind of you
Okay,
just say
if it's not,
responsibility, and I brought the idea of Rule 34.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, you give her 5 rapid shot blast. Let's assume. Then what will you do?
Yeah, if I give her a 5 rapid short blast, I will give her a little time to see if she will respond to the blast.
All right, now the sailing vessel increases her speed and she overtake you, right? She overtake you already.
Roger, sir.
She has given you maybe
yes, sir.
a lot of miles. And she turned, she is crossing again to port. Action.
She crossed again. Okay, sir. If she overtake me and give me enough sea room, and she turn again, and she now turn to a crossing vessel, and since I'm seeing a red light, because you said she turned to my port, I mean she turned port.
Yes.
That means I'm seeing a red light. Then
yes.
at that point, she has the right of the way, while I have to give her way at that point, sir.
Okay. Are you sure? Okay. All right.
I'm seeing a red light, sir.
There's a rule called Rule 13D. There's a rule called Rule 13D. Right?
Rule 13D.
13D, yeah.
Okay, sir.
Rule 13D, it says, what does it say?
It said, okay, let me. It says, any subsequent alteration of the bearing between two vessels shall not make the overtaking vessel a crossing vessel within the meaning of this rule, or relieve her of the duty of keeping clear of the overtaking vessel until she is finally passed and clear.
So you now understand she's not a crossing vessel. So if you give the examiner the answer, you fail.
I need to listen to these questions very well. All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the insight, sir.
Okay, I'm not picking on you. It's just to give you an insight. Apologies that I go a bit deep.
I'm seriously learning, sir. Let me calm down and listen well.
So you want us to move to the other one?
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go, sir.
Okay, you are a power-driven vessel on the way. And then 4 points to port. You see a vessel and you start to scan the vessel with your binoculars and you notice she has a cylinder. You know, a cylinder.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think we have 30 minutes. So after this question, I will have to stop over for the next. I think there are 3 students, right? Captain Folabi?
No, there are 2 students. 2 students.
So it's 30 minutes. So should I finish this or you just carry on now?
You can just carry on and then maybe 2 more, just finishing like Mortal Kombat, just like Captain Tyrant
Okay.
said. 2 more to the next person.
Okay, so you just noticed that there's a cylinder on it, right?
Yes, sir.
So action.
Okay. Observing a cylinder on an approaching vessel, it's an indication that is a vessel that is constrained by a draft. And since it's a vessel that is constrained by a draft and I'm a power-driven vessel, is okay. Can I go ahead, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
It is obliged of me so that she can pass and clear, sir.
So what action? First of all, what would you do?
As a power-driven vessel, sir, as I said I observe a vessel with a cylinder.
Somebody's raising his hand.
That's a 4.
So
I will
is it
give her
someone
away.
raising his hand?
Is it?
Yes, sir.
I want to let him out if you can't.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, sir. Can I go ahead, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, as a power-driven vessel,
yes.
I'm a power-driven vessel. I'm seeing a vessel on a cylinder shape. That means the vessel is constrained on a draft.
Yes.
So I can't proceed and I can't tie a course. I have to stop. I have to stop and observe.
You are the power-driven vessel. You observe the CBD on your port side. Action.
My action, I have to stop my engine.
Are you sure?
Of master. Yes, sir. I can't proceed because if I proceed, I don't know how deep the place is. I have to continue my echo sounded the UKC of that area. And
do you have rule 17 there?
Sir.
You have rule 17 with you?
Yes, sir.
No, it's rule 18. Sorry, I mean.
I have rule 18 is responsibility between the vessels, sir.
Rule 18 is responsibility between vessels.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, if you see a vessel like that, you know, what will you do? What does Rule 18 say?
Rule 18 says a power-driven vessel shall keep out of the way.
Rule 18D. No,
Rule 18D,
yeah,
18D.
It's 18D, I think. 18D.
18D.
What does Rule 18D
Any vessel
say?
other than a vessel not under command or a vessel is sent ability to maneuver shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid impeding the passage of a vessel constrained by a draft.
Does she say you
executing.
should give out the way or avoid impeding the passage or same passage?
Yes, sir. He started if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid impeding the safe passage of a vessel constrained by a draft, exhibiting the signal.
Okay, so what will you do?
In this case, I have to stop, sir. I have to stop my
Are you
engine
sure?
and advise the master. Yes, sir. I have to stop my engine, advise the master, and start.
I did say you call master on this small circumstance.
Yes, I have to call master, sir. The place. Yes, I have to. First of all, I will start my engine. I will start standing my.
Why will you call if I'm the master? You call me. There's no risk of collision. Nothing. You call me for what?
Sir, there is no risk of collision, but there is danger to the passage of the vessel. I can't keep. I
So
can't
which rule?
keep going
Which rule allow you to call the master?
There is no allow me to call the master, sir.
There's a rule called Rule 8. You know Rule 8 very well.
Rule 8, sir.
Action to avoid collision.
Action to avoid collision,
Action
sir.
to avoid collision.
Yes, sir.
So now, why will you stop your vessel when risk of collision does not exist?
Sir, there is no risk of collision in this case, but there is no.
Okay, then you take action as per what?
Sir, come again, sir.
How will you take action as per what?
In this case,
okay, let me help you out because we are short of time. Capt. Afolabi need to talk to someone here, right? The moment you see the cylinder, you know.
Yes.
The moment you see the cylinder, you know it's CBD, right? There's what we call responsibility between vessels, and then you know the rule 18 says you should avoid impeding, have safe passage. So you have to refer to rule 8F. 8F, the first part, which is part 1, says a vessel which is required not to impede the passage, you know, or safe passage of another vessel shall, when required by the circumstance of the case, take early action to allow sufficiency room. It just said take early action. I remember Captain Sobajo has discussed about safe passage, impede, and this thing in the previous classes. So it says you allow sufficiency room, because you are telling me you stop the vessel and you don't have any backing, you are not fact-based. What will you do? If there's sufficiency room, what does action taken to avoid collision? It says alteration of course, you know, is the best. So what will you do? You can make a bold alteration of course to port to keep clear hard. That is when risk of collision does not exist, you know. However, now the question that risk of collision does not exist. Now, risk of collision exists. Can you give me your actions? I've answered the first part for you. It's not for you to stop your vessel. You can slow down, allow her to pass ahead of you, but not stop. If you stop, how will you maintain your head? Why would you stop? So second one is now, risk of collision exists between you and the VLCC, and she's on your port side. What's the action?
Is the question still for JJ or the person that raised up his hand?
The same vessel now, risk of collision exists.
JJ, that's you.
Okay. If there is a risk of collision, then I'll begin to take action and to avoid the collision.
What action will you take? She's on your port side. You're on the starboard side.
She's on my port side.
Yes.
According to rule 18, a bold alteration, where we is advisable for me to avoid. If there is a risk of collision, I will take action to avoid that risk. To avoid a collision. And one of the action that I will take, though there are a series of action, is that for me to reduce my speed to allow her pass. Or
are you sure?
Make a boat. Since I have enough sea room, sir.
In this situation now, who is the giveaway vessel? Who is the stand-on vessel?
She is still always the stand-on vessel because she is constrained by her draft. And she's moving.
You sure? Are you sure? Go back to rule 18. and C.
She's constrained, and according to the responsibility between vessels,
Yes.
responsibility between vessels are meant to keep, not to impede their passage.
Not to impede.
For me, not to impede. Yes, not to impede their passage. And
Okay,
if I'm
go
not
back
to
to
impede
8F.
their passage,
Go to
rule
8F2. 8F2.
8F2,
Yes.
it says a
What does
vessel
it say?
required not to is not relief of this obligation if approaching the other vessel so as to
So
involve risk of collision.
that means a vessel required not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel is not relief of this obligation when approaching another vessel, such as to involve the risk of collision. So what action will you take? You have
You say
mentioned
when
it
it's
now. Now, you should know, I'll take you gradually there. What action will you take? Don't worry. We'll get there now.
okay, I said I will not impede the passage of the vessel.
We
I
have
said
finished
there
that
are
one.
series of action I
You
can
have
take.
taken sufficiency room.
Is
Now,
it that
risk of collision exists.
if a risk of collision exists, I said I will make a bold alteration to avoid collision.
Why?
That was my answer, sir.
Why?
Because that is the best
Are
and
you
practicable.
Sure? Go to rule 8F3. What does it say?
Hey, I love that. He said, a vessel, the passage of which is not to be impeded, remain fully obliged to comply with the rule of this part when the two vessels are approaching one another so as to involve
What
risk
are
of
the rules
collision.
of this part for her now? She's what? She's on your port side, so she's what? She's a what? She's a giveaway vessel. You are the stand-on vessel.
Sir, I'm confused here because she's a vessel constrained by her draft.
Let me give you explanation. First, you see a VLCC.
Okay, sir.
On your starboard side.
Yes, sir.
On your port side.
Yes, sir.
Risk of collision does not exist. You take early action to allow sufficient sea room as per rule 8F1. But what does rule 18 says? You know, any vessel other than vessel not under command or vessel not residential, so far as possible, avoid impeding the passage or safe passage. It does not say you should give way. It says avoid impeding the passage or safe passage.
Yes, sir.
Right? Whereas the other one will say a power-driven vessel under which shall keep out of way of vessel not under command, vessel engaged in fishing, vessel restricted ability to maneuver or sailing vessel. But this one says, you know, impede. And Rule 8F clearly states, now, if you have a VLC saying your port side, risk of collision does not exist, you can go to port, allow her to pass. You are not impeding her passage. Now, risk of collision exists. She's the giveaway vessel, you are the stand-on vessel. And they said, you shall take action as per Rule 8F2, which is a vessel required not to impede the passage of safe. It's not really an obligation. What's the obligation? You first give her 5 rapid short blasts. OOW, call the master. Give her 5 rapid short blasts. She doesn't do anything. Slow down your speed. Allow her to pass ahead of you or make a bold alteration of course to starboard. Remember, there's a rule that says do not alter course to port for a vessel on your port side.
Yes, sir.
When risk of collision exists, when you have a crossing situation. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
Now, go back to 8F3. It said a vessel, the passage of which is not to be impeded, remain fully obliged to comply with the rules of this part when two vessels are approaching one another so as to involve the risk of collision. That means the constraint by her draft is the giveaway vessel because she's fully obliged to comply with the rules of this part. So she's supposed to give you out of way. What she's supposed to do, because she can't be able to maneuver, she can slow down and allow you to pass ahead of her. I hope you understand this very well.
Yes, I get
There's
it now.
difference
I need to read this part very well.
impeding safe passage and give way. Well, if you really don't understand, you can always contact me. It's a common question they ask with orals, and it's easy to fail.
Okay, sir.
From here, if you don't answer it well, he will put you that you are in a sailing vessel, you are a fishing vessel. You have to be careful. So, Captain
Okay, sir.
Afolabi, thank you very much. Let me allow, I use all your time.
No, sir, it's fine. I think you can just that's a very lovely one, because I can see where the confusion is coming in, not only for JJ, but to everyone. Is Adetunji, are you there? Just unmute yourself, and we just have some few minutes with you before we round up.
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Captain Caleb, we can just continue with Adetunji.
Okay, you want me to ask him some
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
1 or 2. Okay. I don't think his own will be a bit difficult. Okay, you're on restrict. I'll go back to restricted visibility now.
Okay, sir.
Right? Or I'll
right.
give you a question. You are on watch in the night.
Okay.
Right? You're on watch in the night and you look at your port sights. You know, and you see red, white, red. Action.
Red, white, red. Okay, that is reduces the ability to maneuver. Since she's visited an ability to maneuver due to the nature of her work, I'm meant to keep out of her way.
Okay. So what will you do?
And if there is enough room for
I
me
think
to...
this one is too gentle for you. Let me go to another one. It's too gentle for you.
No, sir, now. Okay, let's go on, sir. Let's go on, sir.
No, you can answer this,
All right.
but Captain Afolabi will not be happy with this question. It's too simple.
Let's continue. Let's continue, sir.
No, answer this one. Then we move on.
Yeah,
it's
yes,
a straightforward
I said,
answer.
okay. Since it's a restrict inability to maneuver, I'm to give way.
Okay.
That does not answer
that's
your
right.
question.
You give way. Okay,
enough.
now you are in a traffic separation scheme.
Okay.
And there's a small sailing vessel. A small sailing vessel is crossing you from port to starboard on a traffic separation scheme.
Scheme. Okay, yeah. And a small sailing vessel is crossing me on my starboard.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, the rule does not give right to sailing vessel to impede my way in a traffic separation scheme.
Okay.
Or in it. But in this case, I will, if the case allowed, according to the rule says, if the case allowed, I shall move to the traffic separation zone in order to avoid the risk of collision.
How do you know the risk of collision exists before you move to traffic separation zone?
In as much the compass bearing of the approaching vessel is not changing appreciably, I will deem it fit that risk of collision exists.
So that's your action. You will alter course, right?
Yes, according to traffic separation zone scheme, that is Route 10.
You can enter the zone.
Yes, a vessel may use an inshore traffic zone when en route to or from a port, offshore installation, or structure pilot station,
but
or
I
any
didn't
other
tell you
place,
are en route to a
and
port.
some other. Yes, I give continue, like there are some other conditions that allows me to do that. So that is one of the conditions, sir, listed above.
Okay. So that's your answer, right?
Yes, sir.
You are proceeding on the traffic separation scheme along the general direction of traffic flow, right?
Yes, sir.
And you see a small sailing vessel crossing from port to starboard. The first action you're supposed to do to take series of compass bearing to ascertain if risk of collision exists.
All right,
right? Risk of
You're
collision
right, sir.
exists. What action will you take now? Now,
If
assuming you are OOW, what action will you
okay,
take?
sir. If I'm an OW and I'm in a traffic separation scheme and a sailing vessel is crossed
On your port side, risk of collision exists.
side to my starboard side,
You said?
and the rule says, according to the rules, it says I'm not supposed to use the inshore zone, but in case whereby risk of collision exists, I can cross to the inshore to the traffic separation
No,
zone.
you are not supposed to be talking of inshore zone here. Sorry, I have to be cutting you because there's nothing about inshore zone here. All right? What does rule 10J says?
10J.
A vessel of less than 20 meters in length or a sailing vessel shall not impede the safe passage of a power-driven vessel following the lane. So number one, the sailing vessel shall not impede your safe passage.
I said that
right?
firstly, sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
That's
Shall
the
not
first thing
impede
I
your
said.
safe passage. Because if you look at why I say so, if you go back to look at the traffic separation scheme, right?
Yes, sir.
A traffic separation scheme, you are moving and there's a separation zone and you are not supposed to enter separation zone unless it's on emergency and you are on your starboard side, you have some difficulties. She's not supposed to impede your passage on the traffic separation. So what will you do at that time? What will you do? Under responsibility between vessels, under Rule 18, you are supposed to give out a way. But Rule 18 says something in Part 1. Go to Rule 18, Part 1, and read the first statement. Are you there? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you there? Rule 18, Part 1, what does it say?
Can you hear me now, sir?
I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, I lost network the other time, sir.
Rule 18, Part 1, what does it say? It says, except where Rule 9, Rule 10, and Rule 13, otherwise required. So let's go back to Rule 10 now. What does Rule 10 says? A sailing vessel shall not impede the passage. So what will you do as OOW? You give her 5 rapid shot blasts and call the master.
Okay, sir. 5
immediately
rapid
because you are
call
OOW. You are in doubt. Why do you call the master? They can ask you, why will you call the master? Because the rules, whenever you are in doubt of anything, you should call the master. So you are in doubt as to her intention. You call the master. She's required not to impede your passage. So you have to go back again to Rule 8F. A vessel required not to impede your passage or shall take early action. So the sailing vessel should have taken early action to allow you to pass. But however, if she does not, what Rule 8F2 says, a vessel, the passage of which is not to be impeded, remain fully obliged, to comply with the Rule 8F3, fully obliged. So it's your passage is not to be impeded, you remain fully obliged. So what will you do? It's responsibility now. You take action. Since you cannot make a bold alteration because of some difficulty or whatever you do, what you need to do, you can slow down, allow her to pass ahead of you.
Okay, sir.
And then when you go to Rule 8F2, what does Rule 8F2 says? Rule 8F2. Rule 8F2, what does it say?
Rule 8F2, it says,
yes.
A vessel required not to impede the passage of a safe passage of another vessel is not relieved of its obligation if approaching the other vessel so as to involve risk of collision shall
so
when
now the
taking
sailing
action.
vessel is not relieved. The sailing vessel is not relieved of application because she has to keep out of way. However, if she's not keeping out of way, you take action as per Rule 8F3.
Okay. A vessel, the passage of which is not to be impeded, remains fully applied to comply with the rules of this part when the vessel are approaching one another. So
and what does the rule of this part says? Which is back to 18 again. A power-driven vessel on their way shall keep out of the way of a sailing vessel.
Vessel. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Right?
Yes,
I
sir.
have
You're
one
right,
last
sir.
question for you. Very simple.
Okay,
Very
sir.
simple one. Yeah, you are on the TSS. You know, like
Okay.
you're on the TSS, you are in Nigeria. When you are going to the north, let's say you're on the right. When you are going to the south, you're on the left, right? Like TSS,
Okay.
like that. And you see there's a vessel coming against the direction of traffic flow ahead of you. Action.
Okay. I see a vessel coming at the direction of the
Against the
same
direction of traffic flow, just heading you. Action.
Okay. Then I will take the first action by giving 5 rapid shot blasts also.
Excellent.
That's the first thing to do.
She's
And,
against the direction of traffic flow.
yes, if she continue, like if she's not taking any alteration or if I'm not seeing any change in her bearing to me, I will have to call the master because I'm in doubt of what she's intending to do. So,
Excellent.
yes, sir.
So what next? Master refused
Okay.
to come. He's in the toilet or whatever.
Okay. Now, if master refuses to come, according to the rule, I think this is a case whereby I need to move into the traffic separation zone to avoid immediate danger.
Are you sure? Okay, let me take you back. There's a rule called Rule 14, head-on situation.
Head-on situation, okay.
So what are you experiencing now? Is it not head-on situation?
It's an head-on situation, sir.
So what will you take? What action will you take?
Okay, head-on situation says he shall alter our course to starboard. That means I should alter my course to starboard as per Rule 14A.
Okay.
Because if I check and I assume that there is an head-on situation,
this is
then
if you are in traffic separation skill, what you need to do, give her 5 rapid shot blasts. You don't understand her intention. She keep coming.
Okay, sir.
Call the master.
Okay, sir.
Make sound one shot blast. Make a bold alteration of course to starboard that is readily apparent to the other vessel because it's a clear case of head-on situation. You know, it's a clear case of head-on situation. What it also says in Rule 14, if you are in doubt, act accordingly. You is head-on situation irrespective of the traffic speed. Once you pass the TSS, then you can report her to VTIS.
Yes, sir.
Right?
I get that, sir. Yes, sir. You're right, sir.
So your last teaser now, you see a white light.
Okay, I see a white light.
White light on the TSS, action. Only white light. What could that be?
Only white light on it. Well, a single white light can be. It could be it's not a sailing vessel. It could be a power-driven vessel less than 20 meters or a surfer boat.
White light, what could it be? It's a common question.
Just the white light alone.
White light alone. We are short of time. Okay.
Okay, I don't have any idea about that.
Okay.
Hello, you can give me insight on that, sir.
White light. White light, it can be what? A stern light of the vessel. It can be stern light of the vessel, it can be vessel at anchor. It can be a small sailing vessel, can carry white light. You know, it can be a live raft. There are a lot of possibilities. You know, it can be a power-driven vessel you are looking from ahead, you know, that because of the arc of visibility that's less than 50 meters.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I think I've exhausted a lot of time here. Thank you very much, guys, for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate
okay,
you
there's a
giving
question
us
here.
your
What
time,
do you mean
sir.
by TSS? I'll just go through it. TSS is traffic separation scheme. Yeah. No problem. You are welcome. Yes.
Thank you very, very much, Captain Caleb. Thanks
So,
to this.
Captain Afolabi is all yours. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Captain Caleb. I mean, tonight was really hot, and even I learned a lot myself. JJ, so it's really, yeah, you really did well. To be honest, I must really say your seat was very hot. I mean, hot, but that's why still true. But there are some questions, I'm sure you are just able to understand this night, especially
Yes, sir.
the giveaway and not to impede. Captain Tayo has tried to explain to us before on that, but it's still something that we need to really study on it. Not to impede safe passage is what Captain Caleb was trying to tell you. Not to impede safe passage is not the same as giveaway. I think it will be something that we will elaborately discuss again. But yeah, you did fine as well.
Thank you, sir.
Candidates, yeah, Tunji also, yeah, you did well. But we can see that more of these things comes from not just knowing what the rule says or cramming it as well. It's about really understanding, the in-depth of this. And I'm sure that this experience, this is how the examiners are going to drill you. Some examiners might not be as hot as Captain Caleb tonight, but some will even be hotter than him. So it's better you even prepare yourself more of this. And to every other person in the class witnessing this, I really wanted to get more prepared, more in-depth understanding of what pollution regulation is. Also, if you have any questions, any doubts in your mind, or if you want us to really dwell on not in peace passage, not in peace safe passage, let us know. I will bring it again to the floor and really try to bisect it. But I just want to point out, not in peace safe passage or not in peace passage is not the same as giveaway, and that was why Captain Caleb was trying to help JJ because I see that's a very, very confusing aspect of the pollution regulation. Yeah, thanks to every other person that participated.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate, sir.
I think this will be a sweet way of rounding up our
You're
pollution
welcome.
regulation. But like I tell everyone, there are two aspects, especially in the United Kingdom, in Nigeria, in Egypt, in Ghana, I think almost everywhere, is if you fail COLREG and you fail boys, it's automatic failure. There are some questions you can play around with, but you don't play around with pollution regulation. So those are very, very important and vital part. But also apart from exam, if you don't know it, if you don't really understand your pollution regulation, as an officer, it's dangerous. As a master, it's dangerous. Even as a cadet, and they are leaving you on a navigational watch, it's dangerous. So once in a while, pick up that book, not just read it. We're trying to let's understand it. Let's come with the full knowledge of it as well. The second important one is what we're going to start dealing with from next week. The series on voyage is going to be another interesting one now as well. So we're going to be diving into boys, and let's see how interesting it will be from next week. So but I just want us to study a little about it, study about your cardinal marks and everything, and let's come into the class again and let's treat it. Let's have an interesting class as well. I'm sure everybody had an interesting time today.
Yes, sir.
Except JJ and Adesunji, but yeah,
Today was a totally different day for me, sir.
but you see,
No, Captain Danladi, yeah?
I'm glad it's a mock exam. It's not like the actual exam. Yes,
I would really love to have more of this. I would really love to have more of
this is just gonna give you more confidence. And this is
Yes.
another thing also. If you have, for guys preparing for orals, please get your friends together. Pick partners, interview me, I interview you. Let's be strong. Ones like that. Or you look for look for third parties to really try and drill you. Don't ask simple questions. Really go in depth as well. The more prepared you are in mock exam, the more relaxed you are in the real exams, you know. But study more, study. And you see, Captain Caleb is really quoting this thing. I remember the first time I met in 2015 or 2014. When he's speaking, he's speaking rules of the road. Even when he wants to buy bread, he uses rules of the road to buy bread. That was when it was still hot on his head, but that was when I started really admiring and you know, looking forward as well. But yeah, let's study that COLREG a lot. Let's really study, let's understand it as well. But thanks everyone. Like I said, next week, Voyage, let's come in, another interesting series again. And then we'll also have, you know, and orals like this to round it up as well. So OS, and also people in the house with pass, congratulations. People that did not pass, don't worry, I didn't pass my own first time. I passed it second time, both shift mate and math. The only thing is just, I think even when I didn't pass it and when I went back, it just gave me knowledge to know more. It gives me the ability to go and study more. So if you feel like, oh, the examiner did not pass you or you didn't go well in this exam, don't worry. It's only for you to be more prepared for what's ahead of you. So please study more. Don't give up. And for you who have passed, celebrate, but don't stop there. Like I said, don't let that license expire in your hand. By the time it's expiring, let's be pursuing the next license if you have not gotten it as well. But with that, I'll say au revoir and see you Tuesday. OS, thank you. November Alpha, the Bishop himself, Captain Caleb.